Hello, hello. Welcome to another Unique Couple Sunday Night Live. It's good to see all of you who are here with us. And if you are live, go ahead and hashtag Live Squad. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. It's good to see you exclusively here on our Unique Couple Sunday Night Live. And I'm so excited because today we have a special guest with us, Debra B. Hamiliton, and we are talking all about how to be heard in your marriage. So stay tuned, stay connected, and go ahead and share and let someone know we are live and they need to catch this show. Love you all. Stay tuned. Hello, hello. Welcome back to Unique Couple Sunday Night Live. And I am all excited. My name is Linda Wright Patrick. I am your hostess for today. Vito and I usually do this together, but today it's all about me connecting with Debra and definitely connecting with you all. So I'm here today. And first of all, we're talking about how to be heard in your marriage, right? And even though it's just us two ladies talking, men, stay tuned, and ladies, get your men and bring them in so that they could hear this conversation as well. So I'm thinking we're going to talk about some strategies that men can use, that women can use. Those of you who are engaged, single, you can use some of these as well because you can always start right. So hello, hello, Debra. How are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Linda?
Awesome, awesome. It's great to have you. And I was saying that, hey, it's your 1 year anniversary on Unique Couple Sunday Night Live.
Hey.
So it's good to see you and have you back with us here. Go ahead. I know we have a whole lot of new people following now and who are a part of our Unique Couples community. So, of course, they need to know more about you. But I just want to say to all of you who are watching, be sure to go ahead and join us in the Unique Couples private group, which is our marriage club, and take your relationship to another level. We have daily marriage tip and activities that you can enjoy with your spouse. Vito likes to say, get your spouseology degree, learn all about your spouse and what makes what they love and what works for them, and then of course about yourself as well, and make that work for you. Weekly activities that you can do together to connect with each other and have fun, and then of course be a part of our monthly group dating experience. So go ahead, click the link in the comments and join our Unique Couples Marriage Club today. You can also go ahead and hashtag club in the comments, and you will get have an option. Of course, we'll have to vet you. Option to join us in our Unique Couples Marriage Club, and then of course you can go ahead and book your one-on-one relationship check-up session with Vito and Linda. Go ahead. That link is also in the description and comments. So, Debra B. Hamilton, share with our audience all about you. Who are you and what are you up to?
Thank you, Linda. Well, just like you said, I'm Deborah B. Hamilton, your relationship and intimacy coach. I absolutely love what I do. I'm an international speaker. I am CEO and founder of Nurture Your Love, and I have a book called Mastering Communication in Your Relationships and Marriage. And I have a Married Women's Forum that I do bi-weekly on Wednesdays where the women get together and we learn all about ourselves so that we can show up whole in our marriage. I'm also very passionate about empowering married women and couples struggling with emotional connection, learn how to prevent drifting apart, to be
Mhm.
heard, respected, and desired so they can have this wonderful intimacy that they possibly have lost so they can have it back into their love lives. So that's all about me.
Awesome, awesome. And you are joining us from where? Like we didn't get to
Oh,
make sure
that's
that is
right.
clear.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I am from Middletown, Delaware, USA, because there is another Delaware. So Delaware, USA. So that's where I'm coming from.
Awesome, awesome. Love it, love it. You know, we at Unique Couples, we just love meeting new people, new couples, and then of course having those persons show up from all around the world. So we're so happy that you are here and that you are here with us for an anniversary talk. And this time we're talking all about how to be heard in your marriage, how to be heard. So why focus on communication? I know you have a book about it. Now we're talking about how to be heard. Like, why focus on this? Is it something personal for you? Why you've decided to like really hone into this area of relationships?
Yes, in my previous marriage, I struggled with communication. Communication was one of those things that we just really could not connect with until I decided to do something about it, until I looked at myself. And I feel like communication is very crucial in a relationship. However, one of the things that I learned as I was going through my changes and trying to figure out what I needed to do is that I had to know me. And that's part of what I'm going to be talking about today is that you have to know yourself. You have to know what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, what your desires, what your needs are, how do you even know how to communicate that?
Yeah.
Because you have to know it for yourself. So communication is huge because that's one of the biggest keys to a successful marriage. Because when you know how to communicate the right way, then everything that you feel and everything that you're thinking you can articulate that. You can be able to express how you're feeling and learn how to be able to listen when someone else is speaking, which is so important.
Definitely, definitely important. Vito used to tell me, "Hey, if you don't express it, then you can't get it," and that is so key. And you have to be, and you have to know who you are. And most
Yeah.
of the times, we'd find that people don't know, ladies don't know, men don't know, and then of course they come in a relationship, and of course, what do we expect? We expect it to be all great, but then hey, we have challenges because we don't know who we are. And so that's definitely a great start to having a wonderful relationship,
Yeah.
knowing who you are. Okay, so what strategies can individuals employ to be heard by their significant others? I know you would have shared on this on various platforms, and I was really excited about this conversation, and I had to have you come and share with our unique couples community. So, what strategies and what would you say to persons who want to actually speak and be heard in their relationship?
Well, like I said to you in the beginning, know yourself.
Okay.
Know what you want. And sometimes we don't know. We think we know what we want, but when we've spent so much time trying to please everyone else that we don't think about ourselves.
Yeah.
And we think we know how to communicate, but we really don't know how to communicate. And one of the things that I do talk about in my book is active listening. Active listening is so crucial when you're trying to communicate. So I tell people all the time, think about this is something that most people don't think about. Think about your body language. What is your body language telling your partner? Because if your arms are crossed or if you're looking elsewhere when they're trying to have a conversation with you, if you are moving your feet, right? If your feet is to the side, that means that you don't really want to be engaged in this conversation. So I always say pay attention to your body language. Pay attention to how you're speaking to each other. Crucial, right? How are you speaking to each other? Are you being kind? Are you being loving? Are you understanding that for you to resolve the issue, then you need to be present and you need to make sure that you are being there for your partner when your partner is talking to you and how they're talking to you. And also in my book, I also bring out different steps. And one of the first main steps that I talk about is creating boundaries. Creating boundaries is huge. But the thing is, some of the things that I talk about creating boundaries are the things that you should have had the discussion about even before you got married. Like name calling. My name is Debbie, my name is baby, my name is honey, my name is, all those sweet things that you want to say to me. But you can't say anything negative because that's calling me outside of my name, right? So please use people's names, use those endearments that you want to use. My husband says he calls me little lady, right? So it's all these little endearments that we talk that we say to each other that helps us to keep that intimacy in our relationship. So there's no name calling, right? There's no verbal or physical abuse. And that's huge too, because we sometimes we grow up in relationships or in family dynamics. Let me put it that way. We grew up in family dynamics, and there could have been physical abuse, it could have been verbal abuse, and I actually grew up in that type of household. So I definitely know what I'm talking about. So it's so damaging. It's so damaging. So please don't do that. We're two adults in the room. So please just remember that no matter what type of conversation you're having, always remember there are two adults in the room and we have to respect each other. Those are
Yes,
basic things.
yes, definitely. And to further talk on that, um, we have the tendency to when we get heated, or when we get excited or passionate about something, or when it's an argument, we tend to call, especially for those who are in the habit of doing this, call our spouses outside of their name. And
Yes,
so we have to communicate before we get in an argument. These are the things that will be acceptable. So when the argument actually comes up, we'll know that, hey, these are some boundaries. These are some things that we do and don't do, even if we are angry and upset, and to the point where if we feel out of control. And so having those conversations, like you said, is definitely important, because in the heat of an argument, you don't want to say those things that you will regret later. So you have to condition yourself to not be at that point, and then don't get to the point where you are so angry that you would have to be and slip out and call your wife or your husband a
right.
name that they are not willing to accept, or a name that is not a part of who they are or their character. So that is
Exactly.
definitely a great point. If you want to speak to be heard, then you can't be doing those name callings, because no one is going to hear. That's like a
Yeah.
shutdown. No one is going to hear. Your spouse won't hear you.
Exactly. And and even like when a conversation does get heated, because let's just be realistic, that's part of being married, right? That's part
Mhm.
of being in a relationship. Sometimes things do get heated. It's okay to have a timeout. It's okay to say, hold up, babe. It's getting right. It's getting out of hand. Maybe we need to take a break and come back to this conversation. So it's okay. And oh, by the way, it's also okay to agree to disagree. My husband and
That's
I
it.
do that. We agree to disagree. We don't have to agree on everything, right? So we agree to disagree and we're okay with it. That's part of maturity. That's part of allowing the person to feel the way they feel without you telling them that they shouldn't feel that way. So we
That
have to
is so
be
true.
we have to be
Definitely.
careful with that, right?
Definitely, definitely. Thanks for joining us. If you are here with us on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live, go ahead and hashtag, put your comments in the chat, hashtag live squad, hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. And then, of course, put your comments. Thank you for joining us live. Julie, I see you. Gia, Novelet, thanks for joining us. Go ahead and put your comments and your questions, and hopefully we'll get to them during the conversation. And if not, we'll definitely get a chance to comment after. But go ahead and then let us know your takeaways. What stood out for you today? And what is something that you probably want to go and, hey, definitely try? Okay, so let us know those in the comments as Deborah continues to share on how to speak to be heard in your marriage. Okay, what do you have for us next? So we talked about active listening. We talked about setting up boundaries and making sure there's no name calling during the conversation or when you're speaking with your spouse. Okay, what else can we do to be heard in our relationships?
Well, the other thing that you can do is to use you statements or I statements or me statements. Never say you, right? Because we are focusing on how we're feeling, not the blame game,
Yes.
right? You cannot blame and expect to be heard. No one's listening. When you say you, no one's listening. But when you say, I feel this way when this happens, or this is affecting me when this happens, right? So we're using I statements. It's all about how you're feeling. Always identify your feelings. Always identify how something is affecting you. But when you're pointing fingers, no
Mhm.
one's listening. And I really want to say that so clearly is that when we are so busy blaming, we are not allowing that person, first of all, to explain themselves because we're so busy blaming.
That's
But we
true.
have to allow people to hear us. If no one's hearing us, you're not getting anywhere. So always use I statements and me statements. How something is affecting me, how I feel when this happens, or I felt that way, or even something as simple as saying, I really feel neglected when you're on the computer all day, or you're on your phone all day. It affects me. So you're really putting it on you. You're identifying how something makes you feel. So that's so important to do that, because we have to make sure that we're speaking from our feelings and not blaming other people for how we're feeling, because guess what, we can choose how something makes us feel. We're the ones who choose that, not them. It's okay to let them know how it makes you feel, but sometimes we have to check ourselves and ask ourselves, first of all, why did that affect me, and is it important enough for me to speak on it? And we have to be clear about that. So those are some other things that we could think about when we need to be heard in our relationship and we're not being heard in our relationship. So we have to ask ourselves why. What am I saying? How am I saying it? What am I doing? Because that's the whole thing about my Married Women's Forum. I'm always focused on how we're showing up, right? So that's so crucial about how you're showing up in your relationships, because we can't always do the blame game. You get nowhere when you do the blame game. So I always use I statements and I always use me statements. It's so important.
Definitely, definitely. Because if you're doing the use, that is a wall that's built up from the person who's hearing the conversation, your spouse, your partner. They're hearing the you. So automatically their walls are up, they're defensive, and anything that you communicate is not really going to be heard. And what I love about using those I statements is no one can blame you for how you feel. Like
No.
you have to be offended because of how I feel. It's my feelings, it's personal to me. And so it's okay. This is how I feel, and your partner doesn't have to um, kind of like feel neglected or hurt or defensive because of how you feel, because it's your
It's
feelings.
your feelings. I
Yeah,
and I'm so glad you stressed that because it's true. It's your feelings. Nobody can deny your feelings, and it's so important. But think about it from your spouse or your significant other, right? You can't deny their feelings either,
wonderful.
because we do have a tendency to say, well, that's not what I mean, and I don't know why you feel that way and why you feel that way, and that's the one thing I share with my husband all the time. When he's expressing himself, he says, well, know you probably don't get it. No, it's okay. It's your feelings. And we have to respect that, because sometimes we always are concerned about ourselves and how we want to be heard and how we want to make sure that somebody is hearing us. But are we doing the same thing to our spouse? Are we allowing them to talk to us and to share how they're feeling and to acknowledge their feelings? Because that's sometimes we don't acknowledge each other's feelings. And
Yeah.
it's so important. We have to acknowledge each other's feelings.
So it's not just you, it's also about your spouse, your partner as well. So you have to take that um, into consideration. So speak to be understood, and then listen to understand as well. So it's a two-way street, and that will definitely be something that will help you to really be heard in your marriage. Because if you are taking the time out to hear what your spouse has to say, then that could be reciprocated as well. So loving that. Let me see your comments in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead and listen. Remember to continue to share on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live that we are here, and we want this healthy marriage movement to reach across the globe. Marriages are here to stay. Your relationship, no matter where you are in it right now, you can get the help that you want. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to be alone. Get the help that you need. People are here and willing to help. So go ahead, get the help, connect with us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Deborah is here. Connect with her as well. Help is always available, and we have couples all around the world who we will definitely be bringing on this platform to share on their unique experiences and how they are making it work. So take what is for you. Try a few things, and if you like it, hey, adopt it. And if you don't, it's great, because guess what? You have the power to choose. You can always try something else. But we want you to know that you don't have to stay stuck. Okay. So if you're experiencing problems in your relationship right now, don't give up. Don't give up. So go ahead, share. You don't know who this will benefit. So go ahead and share, and definitely subscribe to our Unique Couples YouTube channel. Connect with us on Facebook and join us in our Unique Couples Marriage Club. Okay, so Deborah, you were talking about how to be heard in your marriage. And most of the times we think about women needing to be heard, I guess, because, we do all the talking a lot most of the time. But men also need to be heard in their marriage as well. So this conversation is not really just women being heard, but it is, husbands, wives, being heard as well. It's not just one sided. Okay. So anything else you'd like to share on how to be heard in your marriage?
Well, one final thing that I want to talk about. There's so much to talk about when it comes to this, but um, are you comprehending what's being said? Right? Are you comprehending? Have you listened so well that you understand what someone is saying to you? Do you have the compassion to be open and being able to hear and be able to, it's up to you. It's your decision. But if you want a happy marriage, if you want a happy relationship, you have to comprehend what someone is saying, and you have to be able to respond to what they're
Mm,
saying.
yes.
Because you can't just be like, okay, I hear you. No, you're actually paying attention to everything they're saying, even and
Mhm.
when you're including them in the conversation, and you're telling them that you hear them, you're going, okay, I understand. You can paraphrase what they said to you to make sure you're comprehending what they're saying. You can ask questions and make sure that you're getting it, and then when you get it, show that compassion, show that love, make sure that you're saying, babe, I got you.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying. And if you need to make changes, be willing to make changes. Be willing to say, okay, babe, you know what? You're right. I do need to change when I do that. If I'm raising my voice too much, I need to lower my voice. If I'm calling you out about something, maybe I need to look at myself. So all those things come into play when you're comprehending, because you're allowing your partner, your spouse to say, you're being heard. I hear you, and I want to respond to what you're saying. And that, when someone, and especially, let me say this, when it's a man, when a man knows that you are listening to them, that you are acknowledging what they're saying, that is so huge. That is so huge. Because, like you were saying, Linda, a lot of time the women are doing all the talking, right?
Mhm.
So when our men decide to talk to us and share stuff with us, we need to make sure we're listening. We need to make
Definitely.
sure we're acknowledging what they're saying, because they're not going to want to talk to us if we're not acknowledging what they're saying, if we're not showing that love, that compassion, that respect that they need from us, because we're supposed to be their haven, right? We're supposed to be the ones that they come to, that they share good, bad, or indifferent things with, right?
Mhm.
So we have to be there for them. We have to be open to receive what they're saying to us. Like I said, we don't always have to agree with everything they say, but they need to know that they can come to us and know that we're going to hear them, that we're comprehending what they're saying to us. And if
Yep.
we need to make changes in that process, then we have to be willing to make changes, because what's the final goal? The final goal is to have a happy marriage. That's the final
Definitely.
goal.
Yep.
So we
That's
have to
true.
make sure that we're focused on that goal, to have that happy marriage. We don't want a status quo marriage. Nobody wants a status quo marriage, even though we live in a status quo marriage a lot of times. Oh, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So whatever. My parents dealt with this too. No, we want a happy marriage. So all these things that we talked about today, all these things you can incorporate, and you will be surprised when you make these changes, the dynamic of your relationship changes. So these are all the wonderful things that we could do. And they're little things, they're not big
Yep.
things. They're small things that we can do, these little steps that we could take to make sure that we want and we have the happy marriage that we want. So that's basically some of the things that I really share with my couples and with my married women, that these little things that we do can make all the difference in the world.
Yes, indeed. Those little things do make a huge, big difference, and we just need to incorporate them. We need to take the time and don't think that it has to be something so huge and it has to be something that's just way out of there and it's not in your reach. No, it's not. It's just the little things that you can do that will definitely make the big difference. And I so, so, so love that. It's the small little things. So
Well,
Deborah, tell us what was the most challenging obstacle you had to face in your relationship and how did you deal with that?
well, like I had mentioned before, my ex-husband and I struggle with communication.
Hmm.
Like, I am very forthcoming, right? I will tell you how I feel, and he normally was quiet and he didn't say anything until he got angry, or until he thought about what he wanted to say, and then he would say it. So it was a dynamic that we dealt with for many years trying to figure it
Mhm.
out. And, you know, a lot of it, I take ownership because as a child of childhood trauma, I had no control in my life. So when I got married, I became this controlling person because things had to go my way. Well, that affected my marriage, right?
Mhm.
Uh, I'm like, no, it has to be this way, or why you want to do it that way? You should do it this way. So that was the issue that we struggled with until I realized I was the problem. I was
Wow.
causing a lot of the problems, right? And I had to change that dynamic. I had to look at myself. I started reading everything I possibly could. I started thinking about um, the few couples that were really happy in their marriage, because that's the other thing. Sometimes we don't have uh, good role models.
Yes.
I didn't have a good role models, and some of the people around me, they weren't good role models either. So I really paid attention to what I was doing. I really looked at me, and that's what um, I have a program called the Confident Wife Method, where you really look at yourself. You look at what's going on with you. You figure out how you can make the changes within you so that you can show up better. And that's what I did. I I showed up because I worked on myself. I
Yeah.
knew that I had to be different than what I was in the beginning of my marriage. So that was my struggle, and that's why I love what I do. I love helping couples. I love helping married women to reach the goals that they want in their marriage. And communication was so huge, and that's why I wrote the book about communication. I mean, so many people struggle with communication. And if we don't get it right, you're going to continue to struggle, and you're
Yep.
going to continue to have those arguments. You're going to continue to be going crazy in your head trying to figure out, what can I do? What am I doing wrong? Well, you don't have to do that, because just like Linda said, we're here. We can help guide and lead you through your process. And then reading my book can definitely help you through your process of communication. So I just want to say communication is huge. It's the biggest thing, the biggest key. But the number one key is knowing yourself, knowing who you are, what you want out of your marriage, and what you want for yourself. So that, I'm telling you, when you figure out who you are and then you learn communication, you will have the happiest man. I am so happy in my marriage right now. I'm like, and I post about it all the time because I am just so happy,
Yeah.
right? I want this for everybody. I want everybody to be happy. And I'm here to
Yes.
help guide and lead you to do that, right? So that's it.
Yes, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Deborah. We definitely need to know ourselves, like we said. Know ourselves, that is definitely the start to everything great. Knowing yourself so that you can be able to express your needs, your wants, your desires to your spouse, and then listen as they do the same and not be judgmental. Be that safe space. um, Active listening is definitely important. We also talk about not um, calling your spouse the names that they don't want to be called. So, setting up those boundaries even before you get in an argument will definitely help. So, oh, you heard Deborah, go ahead and get her book. Go ahead, Mastering Communication in Your Relationship and Marriage. She'll tell us more about how to get that. Go ahead and join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club, where you can stay motivated, inspired, and transformed in your marriage as you intentionally work on loving your spouse. And of course, it's going to start with loving you first. So if you want to learn more about our exclusive marriage club and get discounts to our unique couples in person and virtual events, hashtag club in the chat, in the comments, and be sure to register for the Unique Couples Marriage Club today. So, Deborah, tell our audience how they could connect with you and how they can get your book.
Okay, you see it across. You can go to Instagram, Nurture Your Love, check in my bio, and everything there is to know, all the programs and stuff that I have going on is in my bio. And to get my book, you can also go to my bio and click on buy my book, and you will be redirected to Amazon because my book is on Amazon. So I'm
So,
telling you, read it. It really does make a difference in your life. And you know, Linda and I just really want to help you. That's the whole goal of what we do in our businesses. We really want to help you. We really want you to understand that help is available, and don't stay stuck. Just don't stay stuck. You don't have to be stuck. You don't have to wonder what you need to do, how to do it, or any of that. That's what we're here for. And I
yes.
really appreciate you, Linda, allowing me to be on here to have this conversation with you. 1 year, I can't believe it, but it's been a pleasure. I truly appreciate you allowing me to speak on what I know. And I'm hoping that we have really reached at
Yes.
least one person, right? Because that can make all the difference in someone's life. So, again, thank you, Linda, for allowing me to be on here. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us and sharing your unique experience and, of course, the strategies that couples can use to really transform their communication and, of course, transform their relationship and marriage. And it's really all about, just that one, because that one affects so many. Because, as a couple, things are being affected in your relationship. And then, of course, if you have children, they are going to be impacted as well. So if it's just that one we're thinking about, it also impacts children. So that one is many. So even though, hey, you're thinking about who do I share this with or what do I do, it affects so many. So if we help just one person, that is going to mean a lot because that one is going to help another generation. It's going to help the children in that family, in that marriage. It's going to help so many more. So be that one and do what you have. If you want to change the world, you start with what you're doing in your right? Start with what you're doing in your family. So we invite you to do that. We also want to take time out to thank those who support Unique Couples, our platform, and our community in so many ways. We want to shout out our sponsors and supporters here to please. The Nail Creation Lab by Anna, Party with Serenity, Style Me Pretty, Cornerstone Insurance. Go and check out Janelle Dean. Those of you who are in Freeport, go ahead and check her out. Build Your Best Life with Debra D. Smith. Total Grace Solutions with Thaddeus and Amanda Raldolph. Alouette Designs. And so many others. And those of you who continue to watch and share, continue to do so because we are all in the ministry of just helping, helping others, helping marriages thrive, helping marriages to be stronger. We are building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families, one couple at a time. And we are so glad that you have partnered with us. Love you all. See you later and continue to grow your relationship. Remember, join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Bye, Debra.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. Love you all.